Alright, so I rewatched the original Peter Pan for my channel, so I might as well review Return to Neverland, which is a theatrical Disney release. It is a direct-to-video Disney movie that literally got a little more money to it and was released in theaters, but it has the same animation studios, and it is basically literally a direct-to-video movie sent to theaters with a little higher budget. So, Return to Neverland. I remember watching this in theaters whenever I was a kid. I was the right age for this whenever it came out in 2002. And I had watched it once in the theater, and then I had not watched it until I just rewatched it again now. So it's been 17 years, wow, since I've seen Return to Neverland and rewatching it for the second time. So there was a lot to unpack just watching it again as an adult. Because a lot of these direct-to-video sequels, or Disney sequels, are not good. And man, this one just kind of falls into that category. Like, it's not the worst direct-to-video sequel, but it's not good. Especially the music. In my opinion, the music in this is god-awful. This is terrible in terms of the music. We get a new rendition of the song Second Star to the Right, which I love in the first movie. The 50s style music that they do in that movie is great. And in this one they have a current day 2002 pop singer sing that song, and it's really terrible. And this plot is about Wendy, Jane, who is Wendy's daughter. And Jane is, like, it's during World War II. Like, now it is, in where they are in England, it is World War II time. So all the kids are being taken away for safety across the country just to be safe. So the night before, Captain Hook just so happens to come and steal Jane, thinking that she's Wendy. And Peter Pan and Jane become friends. But before Jane goes to Neverland, she and her brother, Daniel, and her dog, Nana 2, like, they literally name their dog Nana 2. Why? That's so stupid. But, like, she and her dog and Nana 2 and Wendy, like, the husband left and went off to war, and Jane is just this little kid who's like, I gotta prepare, I gotta be ready for war, and it's so dumb, because it's so unrealistic that, like, this little girl is like, I've gotta be protecting my family completely. I don't think as a kid you usually think that way. So she's very into war and very into trying to help everybody, which is not a bad message, but it just doesn't seem like it logically she would do that at that age. And she doesn't believe in the stories of Peter Pan, so she's got to be convinced. Michael believes, and she has a breakdown where she says to Michael, Peter Pan isn't real, he doesn't exist. And Michael, this little kid, like 4-year-old kid, is crying. He's like, he is too. And, like, they have get into this argument. And Jane needs to go and learn. And, like, she gets taken by Captain Hook, with Captain Hook thinking that it's Wendy, but it's just her daughter Jane. So, again, she gets stolen, and she goes to Neverland with everybody, and she meets Peter Pan. And I want to say, in terms of authenticity to the first movie, the animation in this, since it was a direct-to-video prototype, I think, they made it theatrical with a little bigger of a budget. The animation isn't incredible, but the animation is solid. Like, it actually does look pretty fine. Like, it has a fine animation to it. And the voices of Peter Pan and Captain Hook and Smee, I think, are honestly really good, like, voices that capture what they sounded like in the original. They sounded really close, and I like how Disney, even though they don't make great sequels like this, I like that they did that, at least that authenticity of, like, how Peter Pan and Captain Hook and Smee sounded. they sound authentic to what these actors who played them in the 50s sounded like. I think that that's really cool. So I like that. And you could tell they tried hard to find the right voices, and I like that they put at least effort into that, as opposed to all the other bland stuff in this movie. Um, and we get a really strange addition to this movie, and I don't understand why. Um, Maybe they lost the rights to this, but in the first movie, Captain Hook is being stalked by a crocodile, um, and it like ticks because it swallowed a clock in the first movie. And in this one, instead of the crocodile, we have a giant octopus which pops in rhythm. Like it makes the noise of it sounds very similar to the crocodile who swallowed the clock where it ticks whenever it gets close. Why is there an octopus? What is the point of that? It's like did they actually lose the rights? Like I don't understand that. They literally maybe lost the rights to that one part of this story. Um I don't get that. But we also didn't get the Indian camp really. I mean we saw it, but we didn't get like any of the stuff because people were so mad that it was so racist. But yeah, we have like things like that, like additions and things that are taken away, and it's just kind of odd. Like I don't get why there was an octopus that was just added in, and it's the crocodile equivalent. The crocodile didn't die at the end of the first one. Bring him back if you really had to in this movie. Um, it adds an interesting touch to this as well that I didn't mind, even though it's typical stereotypical like Disney sequel kids story thing where like it's not very smartly written at all. But I did like the fact that Tinkerbell in this movie starts to die because Jane stops believing in her. Like she doesn't believe in her. Jane tries hard not to believe in any of this. She keeps thinking she's dreaming. She doesn't imagine. She thinks she's imagining it, and Tinkerbell starts dying. So I thought that that was cool. Even though you know she's gonna live, you know Tinkerbell's not gonna die. They wouldn't kill her off. But I thought that that was a interesting little touch to the movie, even though you know what the outcome is. Um, but let me go back to the music again, because honestly, out of all the bad things in this movie, the music is the worst thing. Again, the second Start of the Right song is terrible at the beginning, and I hated it, but there's a song when Tinkerbell is dead, when she dies, and it's a song where Wendy is saying to herself, like, how could I do this? I need to believe. I believe you're alive. While she's saying that, they sing a song in the background where it just keeps saying, I believe. And it's like a pop version sad song of like just literally saying the words, I believe, I believe. It's so bad. I hate it. Um, I hate it. And Disney does a lot of this with a lot of these direct-to-video sequels where they put in really stupid pop music. Again, another Disney sequel that came out in 2002 was Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True, where that one had pop music too that does not fit in any way, shape, or form to that movie or this movie with the pop music either. They're both really bad in terms of pop music. Why? Why do you demean yourself like that, Disney? Why? Um, and the ending was totally fine. Like the fight was fine at the end. It was kind of like the first one again. But it was fine. It wasn't anything like special. But it wasn't like anything that was really offensive. It was just like, okay, it's just the same thing again. Like this movie is basically the same movie again in a lot of ways. Because instead of Wendy, it's Jane. And she meets Peter Pan. And it's kind of the same deal. It's not like much of a different story. And they do that with a lot of these sequels. Like Lady and the Tramp 2 did that. Where it's just Scamp instead of Tramp. Or like Little Mermaid 2. Where it's like Melody, her daughter, instead of Ariel, but it's the same story in reverse. So it's a lot of these sequels are just the kids doing the same thing that the parents did in the last one. Um, and there's one moment I did like in this movie at the end where they had the reunion with Peter and Wendy. I thought that was actually well done. I liked that, and that actually to me felt like the most important part of the movie because I like that they had a reunion after that long. Like since Jane has become an adult since. It was pretty sweet, honestly. Like, I like that moment. But the movie overall, like, besides the really terrible pop music, I think that it's utterly average. Like, it's not like the worst Disney sequel, and it's not definitely no way the best. But the animation's solid. The voice acting is solid. It's just a bland story. That's the same thing as the first one, but done worse. But not terrible. It's just average, utterly average Disney sequel. I like this more than Lady and the Tramp 2, which I will review as well. Um, but like review soon. But man, this one just really fell into that forgettable category. Like, there are a few moments that I thought were fine. The animation's fine, the acting's fine, story's bland, same story as the original. Terrible pop music. So that's where I fall. It's a very average, mediocre Disney sequel, which most of these Disney sequels are. So that's my thoughts on Return to Neverland. Tell me down below what you think of this movie. I know there are people who like it, and that's fine. Like it all you want. That's totally cool. I'm just not really a fan of it. It's just okay. So thank you guys so much for watching.